welcome to the We Rock podcast, episode number 23, coming to you live from wherever the heck we decided we're going to be right now. So, and I'm Tony Watson, and this is Austin Cassie, and it's been a bit, it's been a minute. And that doesn't mean we haven't done anything.
That's true.
But we do have to before we get too far into this, we do need to thank our new sponsor, who was it. It was, we were requested that it was be named a silent sponsor.
Very silent, very quiet.
Yeah. There was for those of y'all wondering why it's been so long, we did have a very special live episode at the convention that was a 3-hour long episode. And then we had a sponsor come in and it's a sizable check. It was kind of nice to make sure that one didn't see the light of day. I don't
know why.
I don't understand. There's some good information in there, but whatever.
Great information in there.
Teach their own. I will take their check and write it hard to the bank, and I'm sure it'll buy some nice equipment and a few really good drinks.
Yes, sir.
So thanks to them, they know who they are, and the rest of y'all don't. So who cares? We'll probably pull some information out of that at some point in time, but silently, and come back. But it was a great convention. I had a really good time, and
it was. It was a good turnout. The speakers that we had, they were great. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to listen to everybody because at the time my son also had a baseball tournament going on, so I was kind of in and out. But no,
well, I mean, you do that normally at other conventions anyway. But normally you're in and out as either drunken stupor or there.
Hey, I'm running with the crowd.
Not wrong.
Yeah, no.
So, but no, we had a good show. I think a good turnout. Seemed as though everybody was receptive. We got some pretty cool stuff coming, some changes coming up. Of course, we're as an organization, we've got some changes coming up because Sammy Peters, our Treasury Secretary, is retiring after God knows how long. I think 20 years. But we got some changes coming there, but also some different ideas on how to improve things for everybody. And I think, we did that thing where we allowed people who had not been to our convention to come for free. I say free. Let's back up.
No. Yeah.
We did not pay for their rooms, and it did not pay for their food or their travel.
They just got a free registration.
They got free registration. And so they were able to come and join us or whatever and be a part of it. And I think that worked out really well. We got a few new members off of it, and it turned out pretty great. And they're great people wanting to learn. So,
and of course, I'm terrible with names, but the ones that I did talk to, they were there. They had a plethora of questions to ask, especially the one guy from Florida. I cannot remember his name, but he was the one that his dad ran the monument and vault business, and then he stepped in to take it over whenever his father passed away, I believe.
I'm trying to remember his name. Her name is Stacy Evans.
Okay.
And she's very nice folks. Super cool. Got to talk a lot to them. I think they were kind of tossed into it is what it sounded like, but man, they want to do it right, which is the biggest thing. And we've been a proponent for a long time. Is just go out and do it the right way and don't cheat people.
No, and he, especially the approach that he has to whenever he came into the convention, he was upfront saying, I do not know a lot about this. And is there anybody willing to share information with me? And thankfully, our organization is one that, for the most part, everybody's very open and receptive to sharing information, especially with people that really want to learn.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. I mean, they're already excited about coming to San Antonio next year, which is where we'll be next year. And whoever has a bad time in San Antonio.
Correct. That is a convention that I hope Perry goes to because I want my guided tour of the Alamo with Perry Giles.
You're gonna have to call that in early. I mean, just go ahead and tell Duff, look, it's he needs to be there. I think last time I talked to him about that, he said he got kicked out. They don't allow him at the Alamo anymore.
He's kind of like that clip of Ron Swanson walking into Home Depot and somebody that works there stops and asks him, "Can I help you?" And he says, "I know more than you."
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Well, what's funny is whenever I did a tour, he showed us where all the different spires were or not spires, the burn piles that they spread around town, and that those like little markers for that are hidden. Like
I did not know about
in the
that.
trees. Yes, yeah. See, this is why you need a Perry Giles tour. Maybe why can't we do that as an education thing? That would be awesome.
Oh, that'd be great. I think we should even put it on the flyers and everything that we're going to put out. Guided tour with Perry Giles.
Man, look, now we've already made it happen. So he's just going to have to show up.
He's going to have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't let the kid down.
No. So yeah, next year, San Antonio, that'll be good.
Location TBD.
Yep.
I
don't think it's TBD. I think that it's iron out the contract. But while
the ever important contract.
Yeah, my problem is that is that enough? You think?
Yeah, you can get by with that.
Okay, sure. Well, I don't know if this actually pick up the audio. Let's see. Maybe we'll see how that turns out.
I can dub it in.
There you go.
But except it's going to sound like a lot more generous pour. It's going to be like
you get the bloop 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 bloop.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to do a wrap around,
No, I think that that would be a great time. I think we can get a lot of folks to show up for something like that as well. Talk about the history of the event of the 13 days. That it took to really make us understand what it was. So
that's correct.
San Antonio Under Siege. Maybe that's what we'll call it.
I'm down with it.
So next year we'll have a great show out in San Antonio. We can't really beat that. We'll have to work out. We've still got a lot of details to work out and whatnot. But I'm excited. It's gonna be a good show. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we've got a lot of shows between now and then because there's MonuCon. Obviously,
then right after is MBNA, and
yep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I still don't know if I'm gonna go to MBNA, obviously, because you and I are going to MonuCon.
Correct.
And it's just a lot of time on my schedule, but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna make an attempt to do it. So
right.
We've got Oklahoma City, the booming metropolis that is for AICA coming up. We're just right around.
That's the next thing. We got out of order there.
Yeah. For you and I, that is the next thing. The Alphabet Group, AICA, is being held there in Oklahoma City, and they always have a good show as far as showing different things, and so you'll get to experience it. I had gotten a message from somebody else. They were asking if I was going. I was like, yeah. And they said, because really it's a short drive for us. And then so, well, is Emily going? I go, well, the problem is Emily has to go,
right?
Because Megan's going, and somebody's got to introduce her to all the ladies. So it's
there you go.
Do that. I don't introduce people to ladies. That's not my thing.
Right. And then I also see actually the next thing coming up, which I won't be attending this, and I assume you won't be either, but I think it's the Monument Builders of the Carolinas, the MBOC. Their convention is August 24th. Or wait.
So here's the problem.
Bird registration is August 1st.
Yep.
Yeah.
My problem is very personal on that one. It has nothing to do with their convention. They do a great show. And there's some really cool people out there, and their location's always really good. But it is so close to my birthday, which is Labor Day weekend. And that's my problem. And actually, because the other one that I thought would be really cool is the one in Anchorage.
Ooh.
For the Alaska. Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to be freaking hot for us. Wouldn't you want to be in Alaska?
I just learned today that there's a Monument Builders Convention or Organization for Alaska.
When you say today, you mean like 40 seconds ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was today years old whenever I figured that one out.
No, that's a show that I've wanted to go to that I think would be a blast. I just, man, I can't justify being away, and it's so close to the start of football season, and we got a lot of we got tickets. I can't be on.
So, I know that. Well, that of course, I guess one of the next things coming up is going to be the shop seminar that the Andersons are going to hold in Ada, Oklahoma for our organization, and of course, it'll be open to anybody. But those dates are TBD. Waiting to get some options and plan around your football schedule.
Please, yes, yeah, that's
because every year it falls on an Aggie home game, and you're like, well, I can't go.
Yeah, make it an away game. I can show up on away games.
Right. I mean, you do know they show it on TV up there too, right?
No, they do not. Not home games. Oh man.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because this is the first year that we've got Texas again on schedule. We haven't had Texas. We hadn't played Texas since 2011, and
it's been that long.
Yeah, and so they're coming to Kyle Field. So on
buddy.
one of the chat group that I've got with the people that sit around us, we're talking, and they were saying something like, "Man, have you seen the prices of those tickets? I'm not kidding you. I almost could sell my tickets to the one game to pay for the season."
But then you missed that one game.
But then I missed that one game.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of going and watching live sports, I went to the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game. And I was there to witness firsthand the national anthem being sung for the Home Run Derby.
I thought of you, and I almost sent that to you. And
if that's what qualifies as having an invitation to sing the national anthem at a major sporting event like that, that means I've got a shot.
I thought Cody Johnson did a good job.
Cody Johnson was a breath of fresh air after listening to that. I mean, Slaughterhouse soundtrack.
Oh my gosh.
No, Cody Johnson, he knocked it out of the park. Ingrid, whatever her name is.
I'd never heard of her. I had no idea who she was.
I didn't know who she was either. And then on the way home, my wife played some of her songs. I'm like, oh, I've heard those, but
should they sound exactly like what you heard there?
I mean, auto-tune's a beautiful thing, apparently. But then, like the day after, she posted on her social media that apologizing to everybody because she said she was drunk. And she's going to check herself into rehab.
What is it? What does she sound like sober? That makes me wonder if she's any good.
Yeah. But that was bad. I mean, it's not like Roseanne bad. Have you ever seen the video of Roseanne singing the national anthem?
You don't want Roseanne Barr.
That was done in jest, though. Like that was meant to be bad.
What's funny is that's not the same Roseanne that you see now. She doesn't do. She's got a different mind politically than when that started.
No joke.
Quite a bit. I thought about you when that happened, but I was watching RNC, so I was a little preoccupied. Hey, but by the way, while we're still on baseball, have you looked at your standings?
I have. It's the middle of the summer.
Yeah,
not hitting the panic button yet.
And that's fine.
Actually, since the All-Star break is over now and games start back today, we're supposed to start getting some of our good pitching back, or some of our top tier pitchers.
We are one game out of first.
There you go.
So, behind Seattle, and I think that we can come back. It looks like we're doing well. And I have to eat my own words on this because it wasn't that long ago. I was like, why did we hire this manager? And they went on a tear.
It's all about whenever a team decides to get hot. Some teams, they're going to make a hard charge after the All-Star break, fighting for a playoff spot. It's just a matter of when you get hot. And some teams, and they'll cool off too.
So, but no, I think I think we've got a pretty decent idea of what we want to talk about today, and that's make monuments great again, right?
Yep, because there's nothing really been happening politically, right?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Not at all. I
nothing
mean,
to cover
it's
there.
just no. I don't think there's. I can't even. The thing we were going to talk about.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Oh man. I to say that I think I think we know where things are going to be in November, and honestly, here's what I think. Regardless of outcome, I think I know the outcome. I think everybody tends to have the idea what the outcome is going to be at this point. The good news, politics aside, is that if everybody has a really good idea what that outcome is, you will start to see the market start to correct itself.
Yes.
Because confidence will start to come back just on potential futures.
I'm going to kind of throw this one out here a little bit, and it's just a hunch. I have no scientific data to back it up, but just me, I've seen an increase in sales here just in the past few weeks. And not just in volume, but in the amount that people are spending. And it all happened after that first debate.
We are, and I don't want to give. I'm opening up my QuickBooks as we speak, and only because I'm going to give percentages. I'm not going to give numbers. I just don't think it's right to share all that information. This is me typing. Okay,
takes a while to load because there's so much money in that account.
Here we are. I hate QuickBooks, by the way, if anybody's curious. Where are you think this would be easier to find stuff, and it's never, at least for me, easy. Reports.
Yeah, reports.
Performance Center. Okay. Currently, today is July 19th.
Good gosh.
Currently, as we sit, I'm at 83% of gross sales from what last year was.
Okay. Yep.
And I can account for enough orders without taking another sale and without taking collecting payments for the rest of the other projects. I can account for enough to meet where we need to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just got that, didn't you?
I did. Oh my, no way.
What font is it?
Yeah. God, yeah. So for those of y'all who are wondering, he just sent me a picture of somebody asking what font it is, and this particular one, if you're asking what font it is, hang it up.
Yeah.
So it's that one's rough.
It's one of the big two fonts.
Yep. So no, it's I mean, things are looking really good. I think I'm not upset where we are right now. Things are running well.
Good.
I'm actually having to get some new equipment. We've hired one other individual to help out in the office part time. I'm looking to hire another one for the shop to help the guys out so that we can pick up out there and just get ahead of it. There's so much rock sitting out there, and every bit of it's sold.
Good.
It's we're blessed.
What piece of equipment have you picked up or going to pick up?
I need a new compressor.
Okay.
And I'm going to get a used compressor. Part of it'll be a towable compressor, and a lot of that's because if you don't know and you're curious, you're welcome to Google my shop, 14821 FM 2154 South in College Station, Texas. So that's where we are. It's an old building. We do everything outside. So with that in mind,
and it's the perfect time of year to be doing everything outside.
Oh, you know it. Know it.
Nice and cool.
Mm-hmm. So because of that, this whole building, right next to me, in fact, there's a picture right here next to me that covers up, what does not cover up, does not cover up the breaker box. And so that panel, I would be afraid to put a 240 switch in there.
Oh, and that's why you're not going electric with it yet.
Exactly. And I know this. The county or the electric company will come in and put in. You've got to get the wire to it, or I think you've got to wire it up after that. They'll get you enough power or wire for 240 if you want it. Mm-hmm. And you got to hire an electrician to hook everything up, all that kind of stuff. But that's fine. Not my property still. Once we have our own property, we will get a 3-phase 240 dedicated line for a compressor so that we're not fooling with all this. And we can be a little bit more consistent.
That'll be good.
Yeah. So we're rolling up, trying to do things better and improve and those kind of things. But for now, we're going to go get a towable compressor. And that way part of that reason is we've had one for a long time. We've been renting one for a bit because mine's been in the shop and I have zero confidence that they're going to be able to fix it. They've been there for a while and they can't get compression. No, let me back up. The engine runs, they can't get air compression.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm just gonna be done with it.
Right.
And say count it as a loss.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. So a half working, sometimes working piece of equipment is worth nothing at all.
Yes. So, but no, things, we've got a few jobs going on that are pretty cool. Now, I don't know if you got your email from AICA, start submitting your designs for that, which, by the way, as we talk about this, that's going to be a change for SMBA as well. I've decided, since I host the design contest, let me back up. I even want to do better than that. So we are switching the design contest to be an online design contest, meaning instead of you bring in your pictures like we've done in the past, we are going to have those pictures submitted via an online form that will give you the ability to post the pictures, tell a story, tell who the vendor is, tell whatever you need to about it, size and all that kind of stuff, set it up for the category. And we will then be able to, we'll print them out still or do whatever we want to put on the board or whatever. But we will actually then be able to open up the voting for that 3 weeks ahead of the convention and have the voting go live up until the moment of the banquet when we read who won, so that you have plenty of time to vote and get it in, because we won't have to tally anything. The reason why I said hold up, let me explain this, is because I have to give mad credit. That is thanks to MonuWorks, who does our order tracking software. Those guys are going to host that for us for SMBA. They're going to build out the forms and everything, and that was on their own. They offered to do it. Man, kudos to those guys. They've been great to us here at our shop. But, for them to go out on a limb and say, "Yeah, we'll set that up for you for the convention," man, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be huge.
And I think it's going to be a lot better turnout. I think you're going to have a lot more people submitting. Just, I mean, it's like me on some of the years that I've submitted designs into the contest. I'm literally getting ready to walk out of my office and go, "Oh, I need to print these." And and speaking of the design contest, major kudos and congratulations to Jonathan Benson.
Absolutely.
He cleaned house.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, here we go. The golf clap for Jonathan. What did he got 3, I think, or 4. I don't even
3 or
remember
4,
anymore.
yeah.
He kind of mopped the floor with everybody. So, and good for them. I mean, they he works his rear end off. Laquita works her rear end off.
Mhm.
And I know that it's ups and downs just like any other business, but man, they work real hard, and they finally have seen the fruits of some of that, and shows them that they're doing the right thing. They're doing. And look,
Absolutely.
I've talked to a guy once upon a time who said to me, he goes, man, I don't enter in the design contest. And if he hears this, he'll know who it is, because this is the conversation we've had several times over. But in doing so, we've had this conversation about, well, I don't enter in the design contest because I don't need da da da. And teach their own. Fine. I have no problem with
Correct.
his mindset on it. But I've said from day one with me that we had always entered into design contests for the sole purpose of being able to verify with ourselves in our own right that we're doing a good enough job for the families we serve. And where you stand nationally or regionally or whatever amongst your peers. It's not because you need an award. The families don't care about the award. For some, if you don't have any awards or whatever, it does build some confidence or whatever against your competitors. But in the end, that family wants their loved one back. They don't care that you have an award on a monument. And I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you, calling a family and telling them you won an award for the design of the monument that you did for
They
family
love
pet.
it.
Yeah.
They love it.
It is a weird phone call.
True. Yeah. Now, whenever I first started out, I wouldn't submit anything to, I went 2 or 3 years before I submitted anything. And part of it was thinking, one, I don't need an award. Like, that's not what I'm in this for. And the other part was, I didn't think I was good enough anyways.
Yeah.
But if I'm not saying do all your designs with the intention of making getting an award for any one of the categories. But whenever I started entering designs into the design contest, I got better because it was making me push myself to have work that I thought was worthy of putting in front of my peers and saying, where do I rank?
And if there's several fold issues there, or not issues, but things that you get out of it. One, there's something to be said about seeing your work immediately next to the other images, right? Because you can know what your stuff looks like and you can see their stuff and whatever, but seeing them immediately next to each other, you go, okay, no, I see where I could have changed this and done this better or done that better. Or you go, no, I think this is actually pretty good. I'm pretty happy with where we were on it. The other is that you get to hear some of these comments, right? Because you're not supposed to be revealing it's yours, and but you can listen to what people are saying about it, and they may say it's trash. Be open for it, but they may say, "Man, this is really good. I like how they did this, and I like how they did that." Actually, one of the comments that did the most for me is from Kim Schlitzberger, and we were at a convention, and she looks down at one of them, and she goes, "That's yours, isn't it?" I go, "Yeah." She says, "I can always tell you." She says, "I can always tell your stuff. You have a style." And that comment, she did not try to offend me by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
So there was no ill will about it, but it frustrated me, not at her, but that I had a style, and it frustrated me that I had a style, not because I like, oh, I don't want them to be able to pick out my stuff, but I had the immediate realization that, well, everything I was doing at the time was really rustic. What if somebody came in and they wanted something very elegant? Am I the guy that can produce something elegant? So it forced me to start pushing myself other directions to be able to do elegant stuff, to do modern stuff, to do different things differently. And that's where a lot of that came from. Is I wanted to try to be different.
And I was almost going to bring the same thing up, not a comment that was made to you, but after, a good number of years of seeing the design contest, you start to catch on to who, like, okay, this is Tony's. Oh, this is John Scott's. Like, of course, if it's a Celtic cross, you just automatically assume who it belongs to If it is yours, John will say that not work is terrible, and it's incorrect. It's wrong. Why are you even trying?
If it's my not work, he's probably not wrong though.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, he's the authority on it as far as I'm concerned. The only not work I have on any Celtic crosses is whatever preloaded artwork I have.
Yeah,
and John says that's terrible too.
There's some YouTube videos, obviously, because everything's on YouTube, right? There's some YouTube videos about the math behind Celtic artwork and knotting.
Correct.
And it is actually pretty precise about how they turn, what the angles are, and things like that. And when you do them, so that they do not write. Do not write. You know what I mean? KNOT, not NOT.
You know the thing.
Yeah, the thing. We beat Medicare. I don't care. You know what? If you don't like that this is political, I don't care.
True.
You know, it's there's an easy way to get it. There's just ride the slope down off the roof. Okay.
I saw a post on Facebook earlier, a couple days ago, that said that the Secret Service is now hiring and they're looking for people with roofing experience.
No, I've seen a bunch of them. I think one of my favorites, there's one that was how to keep the government from coming to your house, and it was literally an ADA ramp. The other one was the Secret Service saying that you can't be on a roof because it's got too much of a slope, and then it literally had an image of a cow on top of a roof.
Or the one that Elon Musk tweeted out, that it showed a picture of one of the Secret Service agents standing on top of the White House roof, and he said, "Looks kind of slopey."
How has he not taken this as an opportunity to sell that stupid, ugly truck?
No, he did. He put a post on X that said, "The Tesla truck has a sloped."
Oh man, yeah, because that makes the Tesla truck government proof, doesn't it?
It does. It's actually bulletproof up to a certain caliber.
Yeah. Teach their own on that one. I'm not the guy who's like, I don't know. I'd rather buy something that can actually get me from here to Georgia in a fair amount of time.
Correct.
You could get the Tesla truck, and I'm sure you could drive it to Ada to pick up rock for you and haul a trailer if you really wanted to. But I don't know that it would make it all the way there before having to charge.
That I don't know.
It certainly would not make it back with a load.
Right. It would turn into a 2-day trip. Something that I would at least have to spend a good bit of time, especially, because I abide by all DOT rules. All the time.
All of them.
Every one of them. All of them.
To the letter.
Yeah, even before I get my rig on the road, it's a solid hour of me doing my pre-trip inspection every time.
Well, I mean, yeah, you've got to. I mean, this is more intense than you taking off in an airplane.
Absolutely.
It's you've got to make sure that that load is safe, because God forbid there's somebody driving down the road with a piece of angle iron in the bed of their truck that falls off because the tailgate's not shut, or I don't know, some moron hasn't strapped down true story, strapped down a can of oil from the bed of their truck, and you run it over and there's an oil slick in the middle of the street.
Could happen.
So yeah, you just never know.
But the biggest irony of it all is I can wait until I'm 95 years old. If Lord allows me to get to that point, I can go out and buy me a 53-foot diesel pusher motorhome. I can hook my boat on behind it. And then I can hook my Jeep on behind that, and then hook my Jeep up to my boat. And I can tow that whole contraption down the road. No CDL required.
Have you not thought about just going ahead and getting the diesel pusher and a bumper pull flatbed trailer to go haul your rock?
I've thought about it, but my desire not to own a motorhome is greater.
This is true, but you wouldn't need DOT stamp for it.
That is true.
What you would do is go ahead and get the Jeep as well, load the trailer up and park the Jeep on top of the stone and say, no, we're going to go rock climbing.
It's a portable rock climbing display. It's an ad for Jeep.
Yeah, there you go.
I just need to get Jeep on board with it now.
So, yeah, you got to meet one of my customers a minute ago, by the way. I don't know if you caught that story because before we got started.
I did. I saw the frog. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we got a frog that young lady, her son had passed. It was a 3-month-old little boy. And she was in here. And so for those of y'all who don't know, we're on camera. We can see each other. And Austin got on a little early while I had a customer in here. And we were talking. And she's like, I don't know that there's anything I could do to tell you how much I appreciate all y'all done. I said, well, there's one thing.
That's where that came from.
I said, see that camera over there? And she goes, yeah. And I go, well, I'm fixing to get on a podcast. Go. Do you mind going over there and flipping off my friend? She goes, absolutely.
At first, I was like, okay, she's walking up, and I thought, like, okay, I'm gonna like duck off camera because Tony has a customer in, and I want to don't want to be a distraction or whatnot. Then I see her just like peeking into the camera, and then I see the finger come up, and I was like, okay.
I almost didn't ask her to do that. I'm glad I did.
Oh yeah, it made my day.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
But the best part was because I was waiting on you. I sent you a text message, and I just saw a little while ago that it did not go through. So I was like, okay, the next best thing is I'll just call Tony's office. And so I called the office, and Janine picked up, and she said, Watson Signs and Monuments or whatever. And I said, I can see you. Oh, I just pulled a Biden. I whispered into the mic.
Yeah, don't do that. Are you going to start sniffing me later? Oh man, no. You know what? I'm glad we got through what we got through. It's I tell you, even if you did you watch last night?
The RNC?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
I will say, for those of you, whether you watched or not or whatever, and I don't care what you really think of Trump, because this really has nothing to do with that. But coming into his speech, they rolled out Corey Capritori. Is that how you say his last name?
Mm-hmm, the fireman,
the fireman that lost his life at the rally. They rolled out his fire gear, his helmet, jacket, as Trump was coming out on stage, and man, that was emotional.
Very, very, very much so.
I only bring it up not to get into politics, but to say that's very much why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That right there, when I saw that, I thought that is the very reason we take care of families the way we do, and make a point to be focused on doing it the right way for those families.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very cool to see them do that. I don't know if the other side would have done it. I don't really care. It was done.
Mm-hmm.
And it was emotional, to see that, especially having seen all that all week. My understanding is the service was today for him.
Correct.
So,
and they said Trump would be attending that one.
And no, they said would not.
Oh, would not.
Yeah, Secret Service said no. So
understandably so.
Is it?
I don't know. Maybe Trump found out. Maybe Trump found out that the Secret Service was going to be providing protection there, and he went, you know what? On second thought, I got something else going on.
Hey, I want to add, and I don't know why this made me think of this, but I want to run a scenario by you, and we may have talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we'll run it out for the podcast a little bit. I guess it has to do with people not really paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing. We had a situation yesterday. Yesterday morning, I had my guy have to go do an install an hour away. An hour and 10 minutes to be exact, if you're so inclined to know how far it was.
I was wondering.
So for us in Central Texas, that is much further than if you are in New York City. So it was. So he came in, and my guys have been coming in early because of the temperature outside. And he came in, hit the road, got there at 8:00. And was getting ready to start the install. So he went out and found this plot first and comes back. He called me, and we kind of walked over because the family was supposed to be present to show him exactly where it was. They weren't there, but he found it. So I said, okay, well, it did rain this morning. Go ahead and check, make sure you think the ground's hard enough. He goes, no, the ground's pretty hard. So I'm going to come up this path over here and da-da-da-da. So he's on his way down the path, and this isn't maybe 7 or 8 minutes later, he calls me again. Said, hey, I was going down the path, and because we have a setting trailer, he's taking the trailer down the path, and he said that one of the wheels came off the path, and immediately as soon as it got off the path, it sank like 8 inches. Left a rut. And not long enough that it needed to be cleaned up or whatever. But he had called me after he got it out. So, I mean, this wasn't a long event. Not a big deal. Stuff happens. So in the process, while I'm on FaceTime with him, as he's showing me the hole, some guy walks up and starts chewing him out. Right? Says, every time y'all come out here, y'all never give us a heads up. And who let you in here? And how did you get in the gate? And this, that, and the other, and chewing him out. And he said, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm telling him, hold on. This particular cemetery, we have never been in. Ever. Ever. And on top of that, we have been calling the cemetery for a month and a half to try to get them to mark the plot so that we can install this child's monument for the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And they do not answer the phone. They do not return phone calls. So what do you do? What's the next best thing? Well, you have the family market and you install it. So
was this a small little country cemetery? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is not a perpetual care cemetery. That, like, to tell you the example, there's not a lock on the gate, and the fence immediately to the right of the gate is laying on the ground. And there are probably 15 monuments that have been knocked over that are laying down, and not necessarily from the hurricane that went through. That have been down there for some time. Okay. So they're calling, chewing us out and all that, or, chewing them out. And I just said, you know what? Leave the rut, come back. We'll have a conversation with them on the phone. And I finally got, I was magically, when I called the cemetery president this time, wouldn't you know, she answered the phone.
Isn't that amazing?
And I told her, I said, ma'am, I will fix the problem. I will fix it. But there needs to be a level of respect given here. You know good and well, y'all never answered the phone or returned the phone call. Well, we never got a phone call. I said, I've, I've got receipts, I've got notes, and if you wish, I will pull phone records to prove it to you. So you're welcome to tell me that. But I can show you that we have called you at least once a day for 2 weeks to try to get this marked for this family. And it's like, I have a lot of room to be friendly with the cemeteries, and I will help cemeteries out, but there needs to be a level of respect on both ends. And if we're going to, we continue to preach how important it is for us to take care of families, deal with that kind of stuff is a nightmare.
Oh, I've been chewed out in a cemetery by, I don't know if he was the sexton in the cemetery or just a cemetery worker. And it's one that you do not need a permit to sit there. There's no dues that need to be paid or anything like that. And I knew exactly where this headstone went beyond a shadow of a doubt. And also know how to read the tape measure too. And it's not going to be off center. It's going to be dead on. Just as I'm wrapping it up and getting finished, this guy comes sliding to a stop up right behind my truck and just gets all over me. You need to let us know when you're going to be out here. You need to do this. And I said, what were you going to do? I know where this goes. I said, for one, I know exactly who's here. And two, there's also a temporary plaque sitting here. It's not like I'm going to mess this one up. But some people, they like that little bit of authority that they've been granted.
Yep. We had one with a city cemetery early on in business for me, where city cemetery requires us to submit a permit. Submitted the permit.
What's the cheapest permit you have right now?
Actually, the most expensive. Most of them don't require.
Most don't.
Most of them don't require. But the only one in our regular service area that we deal with that has a permit fee is City of College Station, and it is $100.
Wow.
And for us, we actually add a $30 filing fee on it because for the longest time, we couldn't just email it. We had to hand deliver it with a check. And so the $30 was for the time to take the paperwork over to them, and just dumb. So, but when that changed and we could submit it via email, we just never changed the fee.
Yeah. The SCI cemetery across the road from me, they're my most expensive. They're currently $395. And, years back, you had to fax it in. You could not email it in, or you could hand deliver it. But most of the time I wanted to fax it in just so everything was in order. I would pull up to their office. I would go in with a check. At the time, the permit fee was only $100, but I'd pull up with a check, go in, get my map, and go on about my business. And I'd faxed in for a headstone that I needed to set. And within like 10, 15 minutes, I got a call from them. They said, we got your fax, but you haven't paid your permit yet. And I said, well, I'm aware of that because normally I fax it in and then I come in with the check and y'all hand me the maps. And they said, that's not the way it works anymore. You have to pay for it before you can even hand it to us. And I said, so you need $100 right now. They said, yes, we do. Okay. I said, I'll get that taken care of. Reached in my wallet, put $100 bill on the fax machine, sent that. And they
tell me you faxed them an image of the $100 bill?
Yes.
That is epic.
I mean, at least it was proof I had it. That same cemetery, another time they got to where, just for benches, that they said they need to see a picture of that bench before they would allow a permit for it. And I was like, there's no reason I need to send them a picture of a bench. It's a black granite park bench. Not that big a deal. And I even told them on the phone, I said, I've set, a gob of these things out here. Why all of a sudden do you need to see a picture? Nope, that's the way it is now. Okay, I can do that. In my shelf, in my display area, in my office, I have one of those little model granite park benches. I walked out in the shop, set it down on the floor, and then put my phone down on the concrete and took like a perspective picture of it. So it looked real. I emailed that into them and they said, okay, appreciate it. Thank you. So.
Oh, this guy, there's the cemetery we dealt with had a permit we had to file, and you have to give them a layout, and there wasn't a permit fee for this cemetery, but you had to submit the permit. So we submitted the permit and the layout, and the cemetery sexton approved it. Get the monument ready, and we go out to install it, and he goes, "It's backwards." What do you mean it's backwards? You've got it as a non-traditional layout, and it's a traditional layout. Like,
I kind of scoff at whenever people say traditional layout.
Yeah. So I said, okay, let me ask you this. Didn't I submit a permit with a layout? And I said, well, you're not going to put this on me. Did you approve the layout? Well, you can't put this on me. I said, no, I can. I have no idea where they're buried. I wasn't there for the service, nor did I sell them the plots. How do you want me to know, outside of what the family told me, which, because I clearly didn't just come up with this on my own. How do you want me to proceed? So I ended up fixing the whole scenario for the family, because the cemetery ended up having plots. They had 8 plots in a row, and there happened to be an empty plot to the one side of them. So I negotiated with the cemetery that was available. So I negotiated with the cemetery for them to swap the one on that end with the one on the to the other end, and to fix the situation so that we could just shift the monument over one and it be correct. I let the family know after I had negotiated all this what we had done. But what it turned out is that we were never wrong. Either the cemetery or the gravedigger or the funeral home, one marked it wrong. So he was buried in the wrong plot. And they were trying to put it on me because I'm the back end of the line.
Oh, yeah.
So all that story to say that, I don't know, a few weeks later, Sexton tells me I run into him one day in the cemetery, and I'm taking pictures of something. He says, if you keep making trouble for the cemetery, I'll make sure that you never sit in here again. Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm hired by the family to produce a monument, not by the cemetery. So next time you tell me that, you can tell it to my attorney.
I mean, if you're gonna threaten me, at least make it at least halfway credible,
right? He didn't. He kind of stopped after that. He didn't really try to threaten me anymore. So.
I've had that warning thrown at me once before, and again, it's for the lovely cemetery across the road from me. They told me that if I keep acting how I'm acting, that my right to sit in that cemetery could be called into question. And my first reply to them was, "What do you mean the way I'm acting?" And they said, "Well, it's always an issue with you." And I said, "Have I broken any of your rules?" "Well, no, but you've come close to." And I said, No. Did I break them?" "Well, no, you hadn't broken any rules." And I said, "Then, as far as I'm concerned, I have nothing to worry about here."
Exactly. Oh, it drives me up the wall. I mean, I don't do well with the presumed authority.
No.
If we're all here for the same reason, to take care of a family, then let's take care of the family. I don't. One of my favorite
things to do is this same cemetery. Whenever I have had issues with them, to where they told me that I cannot set a headstone or a bench or something like that. I'm never going to go over there without receipts. All my ducks in a row. But my absolute favorite thing to do is just tell the family to meet me up there, and I'm going to go in with them, and we're going to have them explain to me and the family why this is not going to happen. And
I've got one right now where we're having to deal with some of that.
It gets comical.
Oh yeah, well I've got one like that right now with Catholic Cemetery, and they tried to tell me that first of all, they tried to tell me that we could not do a temporary. We were making a granite temporary marker for the family.
Okay.
And I mean, like, I took a base and I cut a joint on the base, so it's now an upright.
Okay.
And we're engraving it, and it's like 1 foot wide and it's 2 foot tall, 6 inches thick. Right? Could classify as a monument, but it's not going to be there long. We'd already submitted a permit for the actual monument for the family at the same time. Well, so they denied the temporary, saying this doesn't fit the restrictions. And I asked them to show me the restrictions for a temporary marker. And they said, well, that's not classified as a temporary marker. I said, temporary marker means it's temporary. Means it's not going to be there long. It doesn't define what it's made out of. Right. Show me your definition. Show me where it says what it is. And one of the other things they said was there's nothing religious on that marker. I said, I can walk through that cemetery and I can probably show you 15 different temporary markers that have nothing religious on it right now. And I haven't been out there in a while. So they balked on that or whatever and said no still. But then the other one was on the family monument. This family owns 8 plots, and the family monument is 8 foot wide. And they have said, they tried to tell me, so the rule is out there, you can't cover any more than 80% of the width of the plot. Okay. And you
I actually like that rule.
I don't mind that rule, right? Yeah. And it can't be any taller than 5 feet, which I think is a fairly decent height. I do think I would like to go higher at times, but that's better than some, right? So 80%. So I'm only taking up 2 plots, 8 foot. Sure, right? Logic, you follow? Their statement to me was that since we're putting 8 names on it, it needs to cover the 80% of the 4 plots wide, right? So 20 feet, 80% of the 20 feet, which is 16 feet. I asked them if they were going to cover the cost of making this monument larger. And they said no. And I asked them, why is it that they get to determine how much that money that family spends?
Yeah, whether you go out there and you set something that's 16 foot wide or 2 foot wide, it don't matter. Right.
The next thing they did was came up and said something to the effect of, they said, well, the problem is actually if you took all those names off of the upright monument, then we'd allow it. But because you have all the names on there, then we can't allow it because this is not a traditional style stone. Look, let's see if I can show this to you now. I don't remember if we can share screen on here. Yep, we can. Share screen 3. Allow. We will open this up and I will show you. I've got the proof in here somewhere. Here it is. It's right there. Is it this one?
Oh.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what their statement is that that is not a standard style monument or something they've seen. This is broken. It's non-traditional in style, so they have to get it approved. Well, you're looking at it right now. And for those of y'all who can't see, this is a base, a sub base. I'll call that a plinth on top of that.
Yes.
And then 4 separate square columns that are fluted, a sub cap, and a cap. There, have you seen this before? Did I reinvent the wheel with this?
Has it been? Did you rip it off from a copyright?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I think I got it from. I think I got this design from Memphis somewhere.
That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah. So, but I'm only charging them for labor, though. I'm not selling them. I'm giving them the rock.
And here's the loophole.
So no, but there's nothing crazy about this. This is a standard thing that has been used for years. And I didn't think it was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that just didn't make a lot of sense in their statement when it came to that kind of thing. So we asked them. I said, "All right, if it's got to go before the board meeting, when's the board? When do I need to be there?"
Mm-hmm.
And there was no answer to that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That the cemetery issues seem to be a consistent issue. And I don't understand why we have to continue to be, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. No, my best one for that cemetery across the road is there is a family that came to us, and they're in a special part of the cemetery that it was a pretty good block. It's kind of an island out there because there's a road that goes around it. And for the most part, it was entirely privately owned, even though that it was within the cemetery. And so the rules are kind of different there, but still go in line with a lot of the rules that they have. And this one family said that they wanted an upright there, and cemetery said, "No, you cannot do an upright, but you can do a bench, and but it has to go down at the foot." And this lady said, "Well, I would really like to have something up at the head that does stand upright." I said, "Okay, let's do kind of a little cross between a headstone and a bench." And no, they would allow the bench, but they would not allow the upright. You could put the bench at the head. And so I said, "Let's just do a bench, but let's put the names on it." And their rule was that the names could not face outward; they had to face upward if it goes on a bench anywhere. And so I made this. The names are on the seats facing up, and it has this sculpted cross that splits the bench, and the bench seats are on each side of the cross. I sent it over, and they said, "No, that's an upright headstone that you're putting out there." I said, "No, it's a bench. You can sit on it." And they said, we're going to need to come over and take pictures of it before we'll allow it. I said, "Come on over. You feel free to come sit on the bench if you like." And they came over, and one of them, he kind of leaned in close to me, and he said, "All right, it's just you and me talking. This is an upright headstone that you've disguised as a bench, isn't it?" I said, "No, it's a bench." And then, of course, in my head, I was thinking, "You think I'm dumb enough to tell you?" No. Yeah. And it's still sitting out there. So
I'd have been like, "No, that crosses a bench leg."
Yeah. No, know the rules. Live in the gray. Don't break the rules.
Yep. No, I don't break the rules, but all those rules are elastic. There's quite a bit of stretch there. Let's see how far they'll stretch.
But the worst part of the rule book is the last rule on the very last page of their book that says that they reserve the right at any time to amend or create new rules if they deem necessary.
That's convenient.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and then, of course, the opposite side of the coin is these little small country cemeteries to where it's the Wild West out there. You can do anything and everything you want to do. But the one thing I am worried about some of these small country cemeteries is for the longest time, it's been one individual that, in some cases, this person's in their 90s. They're the ones with the cemetery records. They're the ones that go out and mark off plots. And whenever they pass away, nobody wants to pick up that job.
Yeah, but I've kind of gone down that path a few times, and I bet that was the same argument that was used 40 years ago.
True. And in some instances, what I've seen is that whenever these small cemeteries, a few that I know of for sure, that it got to the point to where nobody was going to be the quote unquote caretaker for it. Mm-hmm. The funeral home in the area ends up with the books, and they kind of assume that duty.
I've also seen we've got one where it was an old community cemetery for a long, long time. There happened to be a church cemetery up the road, and the church ended up taking over running that other cemetery. So
okay,
and that worked. And they don't force the church rules on that cemetery. They do enforce the rules, but they don't, and that worked out really well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still think, I mean, and that's of all the cemeteries, that I've run into. That's the only time that I can come up where that was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't know. I think we're going to run into the problems no matter what. And so we're going to go, this is going to get worse. But I don't know how often it's going to get worse or how much I think it's just going to be something we see forever.
Right.
Perpetual problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, what else you got going on? Anything coming up here soon?
Oh, I'm going to go on vacation into the month. Go to another ballpark. That's my vacation.
Which one?
Going to go to San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Oh. But it's the last year that the Oakland A's are going to be in the Coliseum in Oakland, so I ain't ever been there. It's going to be an opportunity to go there. And
all right, do you have one of those? I've seen these rings that have like the chips for all the different parks and stuff like that. You got one of those?
My wife has one. Yeah, and then my son, he has the ballpark. What's it called? The ballpark pass book or something like that. And each page is, and you go to their guest services and get them to stamp it. So
there you go.
Yeah.
No, so we're actually doing something I love doing, and I have not been able to do in a couple of years just because things have been crazy or we've been going other places. But next Friday, my family and I are with some friends. We're driving out to Concan to go float the river. So it's I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world. That's still my favorite place on earth. I go sit out in a rubber tube and just float through the Texas Hill Country and in cold water. You can't tell me there's a better life than that. So, yeah, that's what we've got going on. Nothing over the top, but make it work.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, on that note, I think we'll kind of call it a day.
Let's do it on the mass.
Yep. So we'll have to find a way to move on and catch it in another couple of weeks and find something else to talk about. But again, want to thank our sponsor for the nameless sponsor for taking care of it.
And we might have a few clips of that drop here and there.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd hate to cut Jeremiah Allhands out from all of his first time speaking with us.
It was an interesting night to put it very lightly.
I think it was made out to be more of an interesting night than it really was, but it was an interesting night. So that doesn't downplay
right
the interesting, but the rumor mill the next morning was quite a bit worse than it really was.
Yeah, I think some people I think they ad-libbed a lot of it in their own mind.
Yeah.
So
I think the people that ad-libbed it weren't there, though.
You would be correct about that one. Yeah.
Nevertheless,
well.
we had a good time, and that hotel did not like us at 2 a.m.
I mean, I didn't think we were bothering anybody.
No, I didn't think so either.
I wasn't bothered.
Nor was I.
Yeah.
So
I was having fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. There's
Yes,
some good
sir.
information on there, though. We'll pull it out.
Yeah,
So,
all
right.
We'll dig through it.
Yeah. But on that note,
we'll catch
y'all on the flip side.
That'll work.